Hi, Achim from InnerSpace Explorers. Today is one of these videos that is triggered by comments that I had on several videos, and sometimes when I'm reading through these I just have to normally have a list with topics. Also when you guys just ask for stuff or give recommendations for videos, then they go on the list and I go through them step by step. But yeah, sometimes there has to be these reaction videos. And today is one of these. So there's a couple of videos on the channel that deal with SMB, liftbag, and spools and reels that we use to shoot these devices up, and why we use certain spools, why we use certain reels, why we use certain SMBs, why we don't use certain SMBs, etc., etc., etc. And I realized that there's quite a few comments from people that are like, I would never use a reel for that, this is not necessary, I would always go for a spool, and why would you ever shoot one of these from depth, etc., etc. So, we need to talk about this. General recommendation is that you always have at least 1.5 times the amount of line of what your maximum depth is, meaning you do a 40-meter dive, you need 60 meters of line if you want to shoot an SMB from that depth. You do a 30-meter dive, you need 45 meters of line. You get the concept. And this is obviously because sometimes there's drift, there's waves, there's wind on the surface, so this line's not going straight up, but it goes in an angle, so you want to get a bit of extra, and the rule of thumb is maximum water depth times 1.5. Good. So why would I want to shoot an SMB from depth? Because that obviously explains why we want to use a reel. So I do a 100-meter dive, I need 150 meters of line. That would be a big spool. So we're going to use a reel. And by the way, I put the links for these videos that I'm talking about in the description of the video, and I put them here as cards. So you do a dive on a wreck, let's say 100 meters. So my last project, there was not even a downline, or if there is a downline, I actually shoot it back up to the boat, so the boat knows, okay, I reached the wreck, everything's fine, I started my dive. There's a long explanation in that video. So now you leave that wreck, heavy current. So what are you going to do? Drift into the sunset, and then 5 miles later shoot this tiny little SMB, so that the rescue plane that's going to look for you after 24 hours is able to spot your dead body drifting in the sea? Probably not. You want to shoot this thing as soon as you can, actually when you leave the wreck. The moment you go out of the protection of the wreck where you're not in the current and you start your open water ascent, you want to shoot an SMB. You want to signal to that boat, so hey, I just left the wreck, I'm going to start my ascent and then my decompression, please follow me, right? So obviously that it needs a lot of preparation and a lot of briefing and a lot of really good boat crew, but that's normally what you want to do, right? I mean, you don't want to drift there for probably an hour or so, and then when you reach 20 meters, you bring out that tiny little spool, my 20-meter spool, and then you send up your SMB, because the boat's not going to see that because you're way too far off. And I thought this is pretty common sense, but in case it's not, so we need to talk about it. And yeah, as I said, then if you're shooting it from that greater depth, then you probably need more line, and that is normally on a reel. Good. So why would I use a lift bag instead of an SMB? Well, the SMB normally is good to make or create a visual reference. The boat knows this is my diver and there it's going to drift, so I follow. Or you just want to signal to anybody on the surface that, hey, there's a diver underwater, so don't run over me with your jet ski. We often have that in the lake, so we put up that SMB because there's a lot of swimmers and they actually hate it when they swim over the divers and the bubbles from the divers bring up cold water, so we had actually discussions about that. And so, yeah, if you're in really shallow water, you don't want to get kicked by somebody swimming over you. So another good reason. So, but now you're coming up from this technical dive from greater depth, you have more gear with you. You probably want something that can hold a certain amount of weight. Reason for that being, I mean, beside a diver that really wants to hang on there because probably he has buoyancy issues, these buoyancy issues do not necessarily mean the person is not able to hold buoyancy because of bad skills, but probably there is an issue, broken wing, issue with a dry suit, but also equipment. I had a flooded scooter that was damn heavy, and I was really happy to click it to that reel and the big 80-pound lift bag or 40-pound lift bag, whatever you want to use. I put a picture of one of these right here. And to not have it hanging on my body. Same goes, flooded video camera, probably a couple of grand. You don't want to leave that on the bottom. You want to bring it up with you, but it's probably super heavy and you don't want to have that hang on your gear. You want to hang it somewhere else where it is supported and it's not affecting your buoyancy control, and also makes it a lot easier and more comfortable to drift along, probably for 2 hours of decompression or something. So a lift bag is a good idea on deeper technical dives to create a stable upline and probably to support some additional weight that you have because of a malfunction or some sort of accident. All right, I hope that clarifies a little bit. If you like that, please hit the like button. If you have not done so, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to discuss these things a bit more in detail, please have a look at my Patreon channel, because that's normally where I have the time to answer and discuss things on a more personal level. And I really appreciate that. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.